During the Victorian era, one was very fortunate to live in a home. Living in a house was a sanctuary from the brutal urban life of most other Victorian people. However, even for these privileged families, they could still be victims of serious harm or even death inside their own home. These dangers included the drinks they consumed on a daily basis. Welcome to the Victorian drinks that would silently kill you. Killer household drinks. Milk, an important part of a child's diet, an inexpensive source of calcium for everyone at that time, was supposed to be a natural, untainted product. However, from a local government study conducted in 1877, they discovered that 1/5 of milk contained excessive chalk or water. 5 years later, ingredients used to tamper milk became deadly. An 1882 study of 20,000 milk samples found that 1/5 of the milk examined was adulterated, mainly with a substance called boracic acid. This adulteration was often done by households, though was also performed by producers to lengthen the life of milk and keep it from spoiling for longer periods. Victorian households using boracic acid to hide the taste of soured milk put their families at great danger. In the early periods of regular consumption of boracic acid, one develops abdominal pain, diarrhea, and vomiting. With continued usage, your kidneys and brain would be damaged, along with having seizures and increasingly longer bouts of fever. Consuming harmful bacteria like brucellosis or exposure to bovine tuberculosis from unpasteurized cow milk would not be prevented by putting boracic acid into milk. In addition, bone softening and spinal damage could occur with regular consumption of this adulterated milk. Eventually, consuming this adulterated milk would become fatal, especially for children. Studies at the time indicate that possibly tens of thousands died from bovine tuberculosis, particularly children. In fact, one study of postmortems performed in 1890s London on 1,300 children showed that almost 30% died from non-pulmonary tuberculosis. There is a very high probability these fatalities were caused by bovine tuberculosis through adulterated milk consumption. Tea was also a commonly adulterated drink, and you were considered fortunate if it was only diluted with discarded old tea leaves. Everything from iron filings, iron sulfate, and black lead or graphite were added to make it appear a rich dark color. Even cocoa would be mixed with brick dust to improve its appearance. With no rules or regulations on dumping toxic waste and chemicals, the noxious substances which could be found in available water were horrific. Contaminated drinking water caused cholera and dysentery, with either one a potentially fatal disease. Lead pipes used to carry water into houses contributed to nervous system and brain damage with children. For adults, it caused kidney damage, high blood pressure, miscarriages in pregnant women, and even death with prolonged exposure. Deadly alcoholic drinks for your Victorian pleasure. Adulteration of alcoholic drinks was a widespread practice during Victorian times. For instance, wine and cider would be mixed with lead instead of more costly ingredients. Consuming these tampered beverages over prolonged periods would result in chronic gastritis, eventually leading to death with continued usage. Beer was commonly adulterated with water for volume, the most harmless of the many ingredients Victorians used to tamper with this popular beverage. Though a dangerous and potentially lethal substance, arsenic, was also used for beer adulteration. In 1900 alone, over 6,000 people were made seriously ill by arsenic-tainted beer, resulting in the death of over 70 individuals. Here, arsenic entered the production process through impure sugar which had been made with contaminated sulfuric acid. Arsenic also entered the production process during the kilning stage of malting barley, with this toxic substance present in the fuel used to dry the grain by fire. Rum was often diluted with water by Victorian publicans before they put molasses and sugar back into the mixture for taste and coloring. However, the danger came when they added Cocculus indicus, the fruit from a climbing plant found in Southeast Asia and India. This plant is a source for percotoxin, which is a poisonous plant compound. Particularly dangerous if swallowed, its effects include vomiting, difficulty breathing, changes in the heart rate, and nausea. Unfortunately, the use of this toxic ingredient was common in alcoholic beverages at the time. Publicans used Cocculus indicus because it mimicked the effects of intoxication despite the volumes with which they watered down their beer, rum, and other alcohol to increase profits. Though in sufficient quantities and with regular consumption, it could result in seizures, paralysis, and even death for its consumer. Gin, brandy, and beer were also commonly adulterated with Cocculus indicus. Though in the case of gin, salt and sulfuric acid would be added in addition for effervescence. Sulfuric acid is a corrosive chemical which can burn skin and form holes in the stomach if swallowed. The first act for preventing the adulteration of foods was passed in 1860, though it took further amendments to provide a solid foundation for the much stronger Sale of Food and Drugs Act of 1875. As a result, by the 1880s, more Victorian food and drinks were testing negative for adulterants. However, adulterating alcoholic beverages with noxious substances was a practice which continued even at the end of the 19th century. Thank you for watching this episode of the Victorian Diary. We show regular episodes which reveal life in the Victorian age. So please remember to like, subscribe, share, and reveal this knowledge of Victorian times for the benefit of everyone.